Hey everyone, Face here. In my last video about my Optimus Prime model, I mentioned that I had picked up a couple of new toys. First of which, we're going to take a look at Moebius Models' new Viper MkVII. This is the latest, the third release in their Battlestar Galactica kit series after the Mark II and the Galactica herself. So let's crack her open and take a look. So to start out, we've got pretty similarly styled box art to the other kits in the series, with a photoshopped graphic of the model itself, with the Galactica logo and some details about the model. Mine's actually got kind of a smushed in corner, but it was the only one they had left at the store, so I'm not complaining too much. The box bottom has some co-cells for the Mark VII herself, the Galactica, and the Mark II. And showcasing one of the upcoming releases, the Cylon Centurion, which I so far have not really heard of any concrete release details. The other side has some bio info for the ship, talks a little bit about its layout, weapons, avionics, etc., with some pretty cool photos of the completed model. And the bottom has a graphic of Galactica's hangar bay, should you choose to set it up as a diorama. Instructions use the same layout as the previous kits in the series, sort of taking on the look of an official dispatch from colonial military headquarters or something, with the drawn-on cut corners on the papers. Assembly instructions actually are a little different. I remember the Mark II being mostly photographs and not line drawings, but it's been a while since I've built one, so I don't really recall that clearly. Starts with the upper engine cowling, with the upper tail fin and cannon, engine intake, etc. Then moving on to the landing gear and the underside of the fuselage. Next up, it looks like the cockpit assembly. Sorry. We have the cockpit assembly, talks a little bit about the canopy, the pilot figure, which I'll talk a little more about in detail when we get to it, but it looks like the pilot figure is not the same figure as came with the Mark II, which was a resin detailed part, while this one is styrene with some rather interesting parts options I'll talk about. You got the cockpit here, which doesn't appear to have a lot of detail. But there is an aftermarket photo etch set that I believe completely replaces the entire cockpit. Next up, we've got the looks like the upper fuselage portion. So you would add on the wingtips and the cannons. Not a lot to it there from the looks of it. Next page, we've got engine assembly details. Again, not all that complicated, not really all that much detail. They're fairly simple. Got a few little add-on greebly bits, but each engine housing is just basically two parts. And then finally at the bottom, you've got just the overall completed assembly of the kit. Lower fuselage, and upper cowling. There is an option for a display stand, same as with the Mark II, which, from what I understand, is based on the display stand that came with the old Aurora kits, which is molded in clear and has relief detail of North and South America on it, which is kind of an unusual choice for a model kit depicting a ship from, an alien civilization, essentially. Finally, last couple pages, we have the marking guide, which is fairly simple. You got a decal sheet with 6 different pilot names. You've got Apollo, Starbuck, and a few other secondary characters like Hot Dog, Cat, and Narcho, who appeared over the course of the series at various times, as well as Chuckles, which is odd because if memory serves, Chuckles never flew a Mark VII. And he died in only the second episode he ever appeared in, so I don't know why they gave him a nameplate. And last up, just has a paint guide and some more co-cell information. So first up, we have the upper and lower fuselage halves, which were snapped together inside the box. Pretty impressive wingspan on this thing. It looks like it's probably about 8 inches. Overall length looks like it's pretty close to about, I'd say 12 or 14 inches or so. Fairly nicely detailed though. The upper and lower halves just snap together with peg and hole set up, so it's doesn't seem to want to line up there. There we go, but it looks like the fit's pretty good. Next up we have the clear parts, which include the stand. There's the canopy, nice big bubble canopy. A little distorted, but overall fairly clear. I imagine looking through it to the inside would probably look pretty good. And there's the stand, the Aurora type stand, as I mentioned, which has you know, the recessed detail of showing North America. The actual strut for the stand was loose in the bag. I guess it just came loose in transit. Next up, this is the pilot figure, which, as I said, is not molded in resin as was the last one. This is a separate plastic, completely unique molded pilot from the last one, and has an interesting little feature that caught me by surprise. Has 2 different chests, one male, one female. So you can have your Apollo or your Starbuck and have them anatomically correct. Isn't that nice? Then you've got like your left and right arms and your helmet and the main body down there. Probably not as nicely detailed as the resin part was, but nice that they included the option of the male and female parts. Now, I don't recognize too much going in here. I think these are landing struts. These look like they might be like handrails for somewhere. Not really sure. And this is probably some sort of bulkhead. I'm not really sure. Maybe for like the back of the cockpit. The rest of it can't really say for sure. More cockpit parts. We got the pilot seat. Pretty bland. Not much to it. These look like they're the main cannons. More landing gear parts. Maybe the landing gear doors. Not sure. Some other parts I'm not really able to identify. I think these might be part of like one of the cannon housings. Next up, upper engine cowling, upper tail fin, upper engine. Not much else to say. Nice molding. Fairly simple, fairly basic. And last runner, we have the cockpit tub. Tragically devoid of details. Not a lot going on in there. Yeah, I may have to get that upgrade set because there's really nothing to see in that part. It's really kind of a bummer. And then the other engines, more. I think this is a lower belly intake, and then not really sure what that is. Overall, looks like a really nice kit. And finally, the aforementioned decal set in its own little baggie with all the nameplates, Cylon Raider kill markings, Galactica and Pegasus options, so you can have it as part of Galactica's air wing or Pegasus air wing, plus some tail numbers, and a few other colonial markings here and there. And that's about it. So yeah, it's probably going to be a while before I get to it, but I wanted to show it off because it is a brand new kit. And wanted to let everyone know what's in store. So it's probably going to be a little while before I get started on this. I still have, in fact, my second Viper Mark II in a box under the shelf. I'm trying to figure out what to do with that. Maybe I'll do them both together. Who knows? But it's a really nice looking kit, and aside from the cockpit, which, as I said, is basically devoid of any detail whatsoever, which is absolutely tragic. I don't know if there was a separate control panel part that I was missing, but yeah, from the looks of it, I'm probably just going to go ahead and buy that photo etch aftermarket set, because wow, Moebius, you really dropped the ball in that cockpit. I'm sorry, you know, your last couple of models have been great, but wow, that is just inexcusable. You know, I mean, I know you did it as a one-piece tub, and you're pretty limited by, you know, undercuts as to the kind of details that you can add to it, but wow, I mean, seriously, you could have done it as a multiple-part tub instead of just, you know, one piece. So, you know, that's really a bummer. But otherwise, it looks like a great kit. I'm not really sure if it's based on... Here's a little known trivia fact about the Viper MkVII. There are, in fact, two different versions of the Mark VII. There's the early version, which was seen in the first 2 seasons, and then there was a revised version with some slightly modified details, and I believe a modified color scheme in seasons 3 and 4. Or it might have even just been season 4, I don't really remember. I don't know all the I can't name all the details, but they're not very significant. They're pretty subtle. So I'd like to look it up and find out which version this is based on. I would assume it's probably based on the first version, which is the version that the full-size prop was based on, but hard to say. So I'm going to look into that, and next video on this subject I will see if I can have some more information about that. So next up, maybe later today, probably tomorrow, I'll have an unboxing video for my P51, which I'm really excited about. Probably going to be one of the most complex models I'll have ever tackled. So that's going to be a long video, so it's going to take a while to shoot and to edit. It might end up having to be in multiple parts. But do stay tuned for that, and thank you everyone out there for watching, and happy modeling.